120 seconds. 110 seconds. 100 seconds. 90 seconds. 80 seconds. 70 seconds. 60 seconds. 50 seconds. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
'Hi.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Okay, my friends, once again, it's time to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk with me, your host, J. Stan McCauley, along with the champions of talk. Of course, it's Hump Day, which means we've got two talk champions in the studio. One remote, one present here. Let's start off with Cacique. Been a long time since we started off with him.
Good morning, Stan.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Everything is great, man. Grand Rising family, yes. Grand Rising to all our listeners and to all our viewers, man. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. We got Dr. Maya Bowen in the house. Dr. Bowen.
Good morning, Stan. Good morning, Cacique. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning. I'm rising a little late, but I'm up. I'm smiling. It's all good. I started thinking again, because that's what I do, about all the things I said yes to this semester. But as the semester winds down, I'm revving up for crossing that finish line successfully.
All right. Everybody's in the house ready for good conversation and talk. And, of course, all of you out there, if you want to get on board, all you have to do is drop us a little note or a message in the chat. We'll respond to it. And you can be part of the conversation as well. All right? You ready?
Outstanding, yes.
Buckle up.
Yes, let's do it, man.
Let's do it.
We gonna jump right in or what?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna jump right in. I just want to talk a little bit about an article that I read this morning in the paper, because it kind of ties in to conversations that we've been having about this type of thing. So evidently there was a police detective who was demoted a couple years ago because he texts other officers asking them to bet on what part of Hartford the first homicide was going to take place.
Oh yeah, the Deadpool.
Right, the Deadpool, that's right. So now this officer was promoted to detective again. So I just want to mention to our viewers and our listeners that we had Brother Rick Torres explained to us how when Jim Ravella was here, a lot of the complaints that they made about them officers were swept under the rug, and then they would wait a while, and then these officers were promoted. And that's called taking one for the team.
Taking one for the team.
Taking one for the team. And that's what this brother did, because I'm sure I'll be willing. Now, I'm going to bet, right? I'm not a betting man. But if I was, I'd be willing to bet that that officer was not the first one who was involved in that kind of chicanery, that kind of crime, right? And now they said, hey, take one for the team. We'll let it die down, and then we'll put you right back where you were at. And that's exactly what happened.
Taking one for the team.
And that's why we have corruption within the police, because when they commit a crime, it's called something else, but not a crime. When we commit, and now they're saying that what happened to the officer is not used to punish, but to educate. And I wish we had that opportunity when we did some stuff out here, man.
Yeah, to
be re-educated and not be criminalized.
Yeah, I think the words of the chief were to modify behavior.
Okay. Well, I wish we had an opportunity to modify our behavior when we had an encounter with the law.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why we have, this discourse needs to happen. This kind of, because we want the police to be held accountable just like they want us to be accountable.
Well, I think modifying behavior is interesting because it doesn't change the way a person thinks. Not that I'm into the thought police, but the problem is the headspace. Because in order to act out a certain way, you have to think a certain way. And the way they think about the people of Hartford is that they are an inconvenient presence or a revenue stream.
And so we've been having this conversation about the police conduct and how they're held accountable, and as we can see, very little happens that has
a
long-lasting effect.
That's not accountability.
Right.
Not in this climate, because, of course, the people who have been complaining about how the police are perceived to be able to get away with things, and some actually do, it would seem that they got away with it. He got away with this because he's back. He back. So, so to me, that's not. There was no real lasting consequence. It sends a message that it's just a slap on the wrist. And I think we're the only ones that could say this kind of behavior is unacceptable, and we find the behavior worth terminating you for. Period. That don't mean you get to come back.
Well, I just think that we have to be careful of the type of people that we allow in those positions, because if that's the perception that he has of our citizenry, then we need to re-examine how we hire people and what our expectations are. I would venture to say that the same kind of scrutiny we need to have about teachers and other people who work with the public like that.
My question is, what's next, right? So if he gets reinstated, what's next in terms of the level of injustice that could happen based on what he could possibly do, right? So if I were to do something as injurious as that in my position, I'm losing my job. I'm not getting reinstated. So what's next in terms of the individuals that have the power to say, no, we're not going to condone this. We're not going to co-sign on this type of behavior and reinstate an individual that thought so little of community members that he would, do such a thing as this. So what's next? So we reinstate them. So what is that saying from our end? In the community, and based on our elected officials having the ability to actually reinstate somebody that has shown that they don't have any value for the life of the members of the community. It's nonsensical to me. Hopefully the powers that be do make a wise decision and say, no, we're not going to allow for an individual that has placed so very little value in the community in terms of life, because you can't get a life back. So if you're going to run a pool, this is not a joke.
Right.
You don't get a life back.
But there's more, Dr. Maya. Stan, there's more. So now, evidently, some of the council members oppose this, this promotion or this, whatever you want to call it. And so this is all in the paper now, and I'm kind of surprised because this is what first of all, to answer your question very quickly, Dr. Maya, what you get is you have other officers that are looking at the officers coming up and saying, see, when you play ball, we take care of our own here, right? That's from my perspective as a member of this community, right? That's how I see it, right? That they're taking care of their own. They're not enforcing the rules to themselves the same way that they apply it, or the law in this case, the same way they apply it to the community.
Well, I think
so. You're absolutely right in that. The other thing is that I don't understand why these council people are opposed, because they've been supporting Luke Bronin, who's been a huge supporter of authority. And, what are you opposing? You're all on the same team. You can't act like you're on a different team now that the election's coming up now. I'm just putting that out there.
Right. Well, first and foremost, it's very important, as a caller, one of our viewers says, he was never fired. So that is something that needs to be considered. There is no reinstatement. He worked on a desk with pay during the suspension.
Well, it was supposed
so
to
he's never fired.
It was supposed to be without pay. A couple months of
right. I think there was a couple of months, but then he came back.
Right.
And so then he was working there. So it's just a little suspension. It's not the same as being fired. And people do take care of their own. I think if you fail a check ride as a pilot, pilots get check rides, like airline pilots flying a 747. A 777 or whatever the plane of the day is, A10, 310, right? Not A10, but a Airbus 310 or whatever. And you fail a check flight. That's it.
What is a check flight?
Check flight is, the FAA or a certified, observer and evaluator of your capacity as a pilot to work under duress, strain, and emergency kind of conditions. Because, if the plane decides to not function the way it was designed, like say, the guy, Sully.
Yes.
Captain.
Yes.
Had
the drunkard.
Well, be that as it may, he landed that plane safely in the Hudson.
He did. That
and
was
so
amazing.
whether no matter what, he's a skilled pilot, and his professionalism wasn't affected by anything. So, bottom line is, how do you handle yourself in those conditions? Because these are split-second decisions, and if you fail that, you don't fly anymore. Period. Some jobs to me aren't about a second chance.
Yeah.
There are times and things where you do deserve a second chance. But it's up to the society. It's up to the people that are going to be affected by said mistake, whether or not you get the second chance when you're being compensated to perform a task. And airline pilot is one that you don't get a second chance because you can't afford to have him buckle. I think police officers should be the same way. All right. Now, some may disagree, and so be it. However, the police department doesn't to me, it's not up to them to make that decision. It's up to the people who they serve to make that decision. And if the people whom they serve decide that comments like that show disrespect, disdain, and disregard for the citizens that they protect and serve, when those kinds of comments are made, we find those comments to be comments for which you can be terminated. Period. Period.
And he was in a supervisory capacity when he made those comments. And see, all these things that are very concerning to me, because it's like Dr. Maya said earlier, what's next? He's already done this. He's gone away with it, right? Because he has you can't have any regard for the people that you're working for and with when you make those type of comments.
Well, see, here's my issue, and the reason I was where I am at. The what next could be that he never does anything wrong ever again. He may turn out to be a stellar police officer acting in the highest levels of professionalism. That's not the issue. The issue is what he did wrong, for which there is a termination. So
right.
the
we don't
whole
even have to talk about what's next.
The whole next is irrelevant.
Right. It wouldn't even happen if he would have been dealt with.
Right. What happens if you run your city-issued police cruiser into the guardrail? The next is irrelevant.
He'll be Thody will be the commissioner of public safety after Jim leaves. They worked that out already.
There's much to be considered here, because if you do, rewind the clock, and when it is that the quote unquote punishment or consequence was being issued down,
consequence.
The consequence that was being issued, right? The person that delivered the consequence, saying you're going to do this, this, and this, and this, but you're not going to be terminated. What's the mindset of that individual to think that, that wasn't as egregious enough to lend towards a termination? That right there is mind-boggling, because if you're in leadership and it is that you have the ability to make that call and you don't make that call for termination, then it speaks to your value of the community members as well. Just as an observation.
I think that's a good observation. I would expect supervisor, right, boss. I think Kasike said it best in the beginning. Yeah, taking one for the team. If you're gonna take one for the team, there is a brotherhood, a sisterhood, a camaraderie, a fellowship of individuals who do, from time to time, put their lives on the line to protect and serve. I can get my head around the idea, the notion that he would want to be lenient or even look the other way on perhaps this item. But that's irrelevant. If this happens, here's the result, period. It's out of my hands, buddy. I would like to, but I can't. Because where his head is at, I think, is important. However, he didn't get there in a vacuum.
No, he didn't.
He didn't get there in a vacuum.
That's the whole point.
It's culture.
So,
That's
but I've said this publicly. I said this on the steps of City Hall, on Fox 61 News. The problem is him until he isn't removed. Once he's not removed, he's no longer the problem, because the people who have supervisory control over him see him as no problem. So the problem is his boss and those who oversee him. That would be the mayor and the people who sit on the public safety committee, because they're the ones that have supervisory control and policy setting in terms of what goes on with the police department in this city.
Well, listen, let's just stop all this nonsense. I see all these cruisers that says to serve and protect. I want our audience, our viewers and our listeners, Stan, Dr. Maya, I want to take a quick survey right now, and I want you to tell me of the instances that you've heard the police protecting somebody and the police committing a crime against somebody. What do you hear more about?
Is that a question to everybody?
That's a question to you and Dr. Maya and to everybody, listeners and viewers.
I'll go first. The you hear more about what's wrong on everything.
Okay.
I don't accept that the police are doing more harm than good. I think that what we have is a look the other way on the very few who do bad. That's an old story, brother. No.
Way better than that.
No, just
that
like
it's not an old story. That's a common story.
Just
old and common
let me
are two
finish.
different words.
Let me finish. Just like we hear the narrative, summer's coming. Our kids won't have anything to do. They're going to be predisposed to doing bad. I don't accept that. There are a few kids who do bad. Most of the kids in this city, most of the kids in urban America are good kids. They are not all bad. They are not predisposed.
I wouldn't go that far either.
I would. They are not predisposed to doing wrong, because that says our kids, if left on their own, won't do good. I don't believe that most cops are bad cops.
Okay, well,
that's
listen.
it, but that's me.
All right, well, that's it. Listen, and I accept your answer. I don't agree with it because I have a follow-up question for you and for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm. I didn't get a chance to answer.
She didn't get a chance.
Yes.
Let me just answer real quick. So,
yes.
so again, when you hear about things that pose issues, to answer your question directly, I would hear more in terms of the negative, right? I would agree with Stan that it's not always the case that everything is all negative. However, where there is negative, it's almost like if you buy a bag of apples and you got a few that's rotten, it's going to corrupt, it's going to rub off on the other apples in the bag. So the thing
if you leave them in there.
If you leave them in there, thank you.
There you go. Right.
So here's a follow-up, Dr. Maya.
Hold up. Let me read that. Let me, before you give your answer, because let everybody.
I got
one of our viewers says.
Yes.
Dry throat here. One of our viewers says there were 20 members of Hartford law enforcement community involved in this incident. 20! Exclamation point. Not just one who sent the text. This was not the first year of the Deadpool. Just the year they got caught.
What did I say in the beginning?
Right, but there are more than 20 cops.
Right, and only one got disciplined.
Well, he took one for the team.
Right,
but my point is, I think Harvard has like 320, somewhere around there, sworn officers.
350.
350. Yeah. So out of 350, right, I would say that the majority of the police officers are honorable people. All right. I think the problem
I wouldn't go that far either.
Well, I would say that the problem is, and here's where their honor may be. I will accept this point. Their honor may be challenged in that they sit idly by and allow the 20.
That's what I'm talking about. So here's a follow-up question before we go on break for all of you. This officer. Well, I'll ask him when we come back, Stan, because I hear the music now.
We got time.
Keep him in suspense.
Oh, you want to keep him in suspense?
Keep him in suspense, yeah.
Time to think about it.
All right, so we're gonna keep you all in suspense. We'll let you enjoy some of the world famous Jay Hogarth. Rick Torres says majority of officers do care and want to do well.
Well, I'm asking a question. Here's the question. I want you and Dr. Maya and the audience to cite specific incidents where the police protected or served. Specific incidents. Let's hear it.
Okay.
Let's hear it, people.
We'll do that. We'll do that when we come back.
Dr. Maya made me rethink it.
Also for your consideration tonight, Hartford City Hall, or you can join them online, is the budget hearing for the Hartford Police Department. Something you should go to and observe.
Be there, be there, be there.
Be there or be one square. We'll be right back. More to talk.
Every bad political decision is made by a politician elected to office. So if you think your vote doesn't matter, just remember this. There are people sitting with politicians in a back room making deals about your future, making policies about your children, making decisions about your neighborhood. To them, you are just a vote. You are not their cause. You are just a vote. Elections have consequences, and if you don't vote, you are actually voting to keep these people in power to work against you. Now more than ever, you need to make your vote count. It's time to clear the air and vote for a mayor that is unbought, unbossed, trusted, and accountable to you, the constituent. My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I am an independent thinker, and I approve this message. I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, in the Democratic Party primary election for mayor of the city of Hartford. For more information, visit McCauleyformayor.com. Have the courage to vote your conscience and vote for the name you trust and know. Vote J. Stan McCauley for mayor.
Hi,
My name's J. Stan McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back. Welcome back.
All right, family, we're back. So, what is your Dr. Maya, Stan, audience? What's your response?
So if I started it off, let me just restate the question, just to make sure it's crystal in my mind. The question was, can we name an incident, personal incident, where the Hartford Public
not incident, not incident, because incident connotates negativity.
Okay, well,
Instance,
it's an occurrence.
or occurrences or instances where
Instances. Okay, instances where the Hartford Police Department,
officers
actually protected and served, and so for me personally, I couldn't think of anything, and I had a nice long break, and I was steadily thinking about it. So I have nothing
so let's
there,
be.
but I'm sure it's there. It's someone that can. But
well, let's be fair about it. Conversely, let me ask you of negative incidents that you've heard. Many come to mind quickly.
That you can think of, though. Got to name it.
I can. There's an incident where between the Hartford Public School System and they swarmed on my disabled mother and my brother and myself, trying to I guess arrest my mom, because my brother was out of school based on disability, which they didn't actually provide him any in-home instructor. It was a wild dynamic. So it was like maybe about 18-20 cars deep, the way I remember it. The whole neighborhood blocked off.
For your disabled mom.
You would have thought that something horrible had happened, but no. It was DCF workers, it was the cops, it was Hartford Public officials that actually launched that attack on my family. So I mean, it was unseemly, unconscionable, scary. I was probably maybe 11, brother 10. It was crazy.
And the fear in your voice as you recount that incident is palpable.
The trauma.
So, but Stan, come on, Stan, give us something. You have something for us.
I know that there are a multitude of incidents, both good and bad, that Hartford Police Department.
No, we just want you to tell us a specific.
Last week, officers took a child in the cruiser to the hospital because they didn't want to wait for the ambulance.
That is a laudable.
They made it. They made now, and not only did they make the decision, had the child died in transport, could you have any idea?
Yeah.
What would have happened? They would have been done.
Yeah.
Done. Toast, done.
For trying to do the right thing.
For trying to do the right thing.
No, there's no question.
And so we're talking about protecting and serving. They put the life of the child before their careers, which you would expect. All right. Someone that's willing to take a bullet. Now, I think if our police officers were better trained, we'd have better police. Secret Service don't get that way overnight. They're trained. Lots of training.
Mindset. It's definitely a mindset.
But it's a lot. It's training. It's a lot of training. If you don't want to spend the money to train, and you just hiring yahoos, then they go rogue. Rick Torres chimed in here. He says, about the majority of the officers, do care and they want to do well. He said, however, in Hartford between 2011 and 2017, the number of rogue officers was growing every year. And so if rogue officers are growing, it's because there's no consequence or oversight. Those are leadership issues.
Yes.
And all these things are traced to leadership. And the leader of the department is accountable to somebody. And so if you have leadership that won't do a good job, then you're going to have subordinates underneath them that don't do good jobs. And I think these things always go back to leadership. To whom much is given, much is required. That's all.
And see, this is why I have to stop. We have to stop making these claims about, it's 10% or it's 20%. And let me say this first. Let me just put this out there. I don't dislike the police, and I don't like them. I just think that they have a function.
They're functional.
Right. They have a function that they perform. And I think that they have an important function to play. I don't have nothing against them. This is not an attack on them. This is just to clarify the mindset that we have as a community and how we engage and how we process the things that we're witnessing versus the things that we're being told.
That's deep.
Deep. Yeah. Powerful.
That's deep. When I sit back and think about individuals that go through training, right? Taking a step back before they even assume the position or are given the position. What is the mind space? What is their heart like in terms of whether or not they value human beings? We're not talking about race and ethnicity or any of that. We're talking about just the life and livelihood and well-being of individuals for which it is that you provide a service, right? And so if it comes to a point where we as a community are not able to influence leadership enough to really take these things seriously when something that is unjust occurs, then again, as you state, Sam, it starts with the leadership. Because here's the thing, I think about Niagara Falls and I think about gravity. So leadership is at the top. It flows, their mindset flows down and their actions flow down to those who they supervise. So like Niagara Falls, the water is coming off of that high point and trickling down, and whoever is underneath will feel the effects of that water falling from the top. And so leadership, again, it's a trickle down effect. If it is that at the leadership pinnacle, you're not handling things like they should be handled so that your subordinates see that there are consequences, then you are co-signing on those misdeeds. And that's just from observation.
Well, here's the thing for me. If we're going to talk about leadership, Jason Thody was suspended for being drunk in public. Okay? And now he's the police chief. Then as the police chief, he was drinking on the job and got into an accident. And he got away with it. So how can he hold anybody on that police force accountable for anything that they do? That would be my next follow-up question.
Whoever made that call to allow for the consequences that he received when he was caught doing those things, right? that is on their head as well. It goes back to leadership. The arrow points to leadership. So when it is that a consequence has to come down and the decision that is made does not correct the issue, or the consequence is not as severe as it should be, then we get people bumped up or promoted into positions that, something wrong or something that they do in error is going to happen again. And then you see the consequence for that second offense. Something's wrong. Something is definitely wrong where it is that the consequences are meted out according to the offense.
Well, the other issue that I would raise is that if we keep seeing the protect and serve, but we see in our own experiences as black and brown people that there's more crimes being committed against us by the people who are supposed to be protected and served. But they keep pushing the narrative, protect and serve, but we're living a different experience. Then we have to start questioning that, because it goes back to something I said in the very beginning when I started doing the show. Black and brown people in this country accept a lot of things that we should not accept.
That I will agree with.
So now I'm going to
I
make a
agree with that.
challenge here to our community. We don't have to accept the promotion of this officer. But what we have to do is we have to sit down and plan on how we're going to not just prevent this, but continue to eradicate these officers that are criminals. I wouldn't call them officers. These criminals that are, portraying that they're officers, so that the good officers that everybody keeps talking about can surface and do the things that they're supposed to do. But the other thing that I would say to the community is that we cannot continue to be policed like we're runaway slaves. That's what it is.
That's going to take the community
But that's a mindset that we have to eradicate.
mature and step up to the plate.
Yes.
Because you know what? It's like an abused spouse. All right? Whether the spouse be male or female, it's like an abused spouse. If the abused individual won't speak up, then they just keep being abused. Then the community is at that place. They are broken, one could say. They've been domesticated. All right?
Yes. Yes.
And that happens when you're being subjugated, because people are hopeless. They feel powerless. Even the people in power to make a change feel in their mind.
You're never
in their
hopeless
head,
or helpless then.
in
You
their-
feel like that.
Well, right.
Yes.
In their mind. I call it the paper room syndrome. We bring you into a room, set you in the middle of it, blindfolded, and we take the blindfolds off and we go out the room. We bring food to you and you get used to being in the room. One day you lean up against the wall, you fall through it. Unbeknownst to you, that the wall was just
a figment of your imagination.
no, it was a paper wall that painted bricks on it.
Yeah.
But you didn't even try to get out.
Yeah, it's like the dog barking at you behind the fence, but the gate is open.
Right. So, we have, the trappings of government being what they currently are in the city of Hartford. I can't speak for nowhere else. I live in Hartford. The city council has tremendous authority and power to do certain things, and they don't. They don't. The mayor has power to do a whole lot of stuff, and he does, but he doesn't do it for everyone and all occasions. He exercises power when it's going to be beneficial to him or the people whom empower him to stay there. All right? So it would be interesting for you all out there to go to the clerk's office, the town clerk, and pull the donation records of the candidates running for mayor and see who contributed to their campaign. Because the people that contribute to the campaigns are buying access to those in power.
Right.
All right? You think someone donate the maximum amount? Their wife donated, the 8 kids donate, the cousins, uncles, aunts, and people that work in the same building that they work with, all donated, and they don't want something in exchange. They're not donating to their friends. This is not a charity. They're buying influence.
Yeah, I'm donating to my cause.
Right. That's right. So,
which right now goes through you.
Right. So, you want to find out who pulls the strings of power? Find out who's donating.
The Wizard of Oz revealed.
Right, because the Wizard of Oz, the guy sitting in that chair, even if it winds up being me, is just a guy sitting in a chair. It's the chair that has the power. Who's controlling the chair? Is it the people or is it some other power? Now, if it's the people, they don't treat the folk that give like that, do they? So you go into the suburbs, see how people are treated differently. So in Hartford, a lot of the people in the city are seen as an welcome. They're like
disturbance.
they're disturbed. Why are you in downtown? Why are you over there? Why are you here? Why are your children running around and hanging out in the street? You know, they're not hanging out. They're walking on the street.
There's like they have like unwritten policies. Like, you know, people used to get mad at me and question me when I used to say downtown has never been welcoming to black and brown folk. Never. The only time we were welcome downtown is when they were selling black folk downtown. Okay, and so this notion. I mean, let's not forget what that officer said. If they're black and they're not in a suit, I want in the back of a cruiser. And this was another guy that, another famous police officer. And that's how, because the business community down there, the insurance companies, the banks, and what have you, they don't want black people down there. You know what I'm saying? They can come in and clean the offices and stuff like that, but that's it.
You know, that's a very interesting few statements. I'm going to circle back just a little bit.
Yes.
You said that when they were selling blacks, you know, I want to say that the old State House was the site of where they were selling. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong,
No,
but you know, the historical relevance behind the history of this country in and of itself is mind-blowing, because as a country we have yet to reconcile these things, so that for example, the types of political shenanigans that are going down in Florida,
South Carolina,
are seen to be egregious, right? And so another thing that was stated was related to, just before the break, how it is that, you know, our youth are getting ready to take part in summer time events, or the time off during the summer, because school is ending in June. One of the things I would challenge parents to reach out to the Hartford Public School System would be related to them making sure that every child is signed up for the programs that are available in Hartford before the school year ends. So every child has something to do, some type of day program that they can go to, so that they are not potentially out there without anything to do that could steer them towards trouble. I'm putting out a challenge to the parents and guardians to contact Hartford Public School System to see what it is that they're doing to sign up Hartford's youth for programs, summer programs specifically, so that it is that we keep the youth engaged and out of trouble.
I like that challenge. I have a different type of challenge, but I want to thank you for that. That's a wonderful challenge. My challenge is to the community and to the parents to stop applauding the you know, the dumb stuff, the nonsense that our kids get involved in. Don't applaud that. Don't co-sign it. And if you can get out of you, if you see it, if your nephew, if your niece, if you have any influence over our own kids, let's make them accountable for their actions. This is a community effort. This has nothing to do with the government or the police. I'm challenging the Hartford community to hold our children accountable. That's my challenge.
I think that's a great challenge, and I think it's something that we have to do, not just in Hartford, but all over the country.
And then the message to the young people out there: if you are in your neighborhood and you're selling crack, you're selling heroin, you're committing violence in your neighborhood, you're not a tough guy, you're not cool. You're just involved in some real negative things, and you need to rethink that. And if you're not in our community building, creating, lifting up, and doing good things every day in good will and in good faith, you need to find another place to live, because you're not welcome here.
Well, you know, I think you know, ultimately policing is, the burden of policing really is on the community.
In the community, absolutely.
It's not the police force's job to really police. It's their job to enforce
the law.
The law. And the community sets the tone and the standard for what the law is. So, laws are put into place by folks in the community. So ultimately, and this is, communities really have to step up to the plate. None of these things are going to be fixed until the community decides that I want to see some change, because communities are self-policing. So if you see stuff going on, if your government is dysfunctional, chances are very high that the community is dysfunctional. All right, so we need, as a community, to step up to the plate so that we are self-determined, self-functioning, right? So we self-sustaining, self-educating, and self-policing. That means the community has a big say in how the educational process happens. Instead of them telling you what is right for your children, you're actually telling them what you want for your children.
Absolutely.
They work.
Hence the challenge.
They work.
Hence the challenge.
Work for us.
Exactly. Let them know what you want. You can't, like this adage says, a closed mouth does not get fed. So if you want your child to be in a summer program, you should be contacting the individuals within the school system that know about these programs, right? Do the research, make the call, go to the school, show up for your child so that it is that you can get what it is that you want them to receive. It's available. And so, even as a youth growing up in Hartford myself, I didn't see a lot in terms of opportunities for me to engage in, but I did stay out of trouble, because I don't want no trouble. I don't want that smoke. But the thing is that where it is that there's an idle mind, that means that there's a possibility that, some mischievous things could happen that could wind up having dire consequences. And being a part of, this judicial infrastructure when it comes to having to go to court, that is a huge money maker. So don't contribute to that money making system if you can stay away from it at all costs. Again, contact Hartford Public Schools to find out what activities and programs are available for the summer, and make sure that they provide that information so that you can sign your child or children up for those programs.
They should
keep
have
them busy, keep them engaged.
Yeah, they should have a brochure available with all the programs, and also, a hard copy, and also online. I think if they don't have that already, I hope that someone's listening. But we need that ASAP.
ASAP.
Because our like you said, Dr. Maya, we need to sign our children up into these programs as quickly as we can, so we know that, that's already done. We don't have to worry about that. That's taken care of. And
they need to come down and see you for that chess education.
Yes,
too, sir.
And the Taino Chess Club is open for chess. And I just wanted to say that thank you so much to all the people that's been supporting. We're averaging about 10 to 12 people a day. New players are coming in every day, and it's been a really good experience, so I'm very grateful for that. But thank you to all the people that support the Taino Chess Club. Absolutely.
There's an effort to separate Parks and Recreation out of youth, families, service, child. It's that long. And I really believe that should be.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of them folding that into, taking Parks and Recreation and folding that into a broader, bigger department. I think Parks and Rec should be Parks and Rec.
Well, they try to make it part of the whole family thing, Stan. That's what they try to do.
And I understand that.
And
but I think Parks and Rec is a whole separate thing, and it didn't work well.
Well,
in my opinion,
I worked in Parks and Recs for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, there was a woman there named Lorraine Williams, and they had a lot of directors there. She was like the secretary, but she was really the director. She kept everything moving. So knowledgeable, so friendly, so open-minded, man, and she was great. But I think that Parks and Recs, and I've said this in the past, in terms of curbing the violence, of engaging our kids, there are no park and rec workers that are out in the community doing that, bringing kids from the community into the centers and engaging them, and we need that. Back in the day, we had a lot of people like that. There were people like, I don't know if you're still there, but There was Israel Caro was out there recruiting. There was Eula Dobson.
I remember Eula. Yeah.
She worked in the department, and she was a supervisor. She was an easy person to work with. You know, she tried to make everything that you needed available to you so you could do your program, so you didn't have an excuse. So she was wonderful. Another brother there named Ed Dowdy, another brother that was really, really, good at what he did. So there was a lot of good people that worked there. I don't know any of the supervisors there now, but I think that they have been mostly absent from when we've had the spurts of violence with the youth and stuff like that. I've never seen their name mentioned in anything about what they want to do or what they recommend, and that has always been a concern for me because one of the biggest successes that I've had in my life, I think it was Saturday, I had two young men in the club, two young Jamaican brothers that were my students at Weaver like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. These guys are still following me around. They still call me. They come to play chess, and so we need that. We need that type of connection with our youth. And the police department has a good person on it. I think he should be chief because I don't think you need to be lieutenant. I think Steve Austin should be chief.
Steve's cool dude.
Yeah, because he knows the community. He's respected by the officers and by the community. And we support that, but they, Hartford Public Schools, they don't have anybody that can go out in the community like that. I remember when I used to do home visits, and there were, white women that were supposed to be attendance workers, and they would never go out in the community, and they got paid a handsome wage to be attendance workers and never went out. So there's a lot of things wrong that we need to address, and I guess my point for today's show is that we have to stop listening so much to what people say to us and be much more cognizant of what they're doing. That's the message for today, family.
Stick and stay. We'll be right back.
Are you ready? Coming Friday, May 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. is the Season 1 finale of Hartford's Got Talent at the famous Bushnell Theater in Hartford, Connecticut. Talent of all ages compete for $15,000 in cash prizes and awards. Don't miss it. Hartford's Got Talent, Friday, May 5th at the Bushnell in Hartford, Connecticut. Hartford's Got Talent, showcasing talent and connecting community. For more information, visit www.hartfordsgottalent.org.
How do you define evil? Is evil the pedophile school administrator or taxation without representation? Is it the gatekeeping community leaders who sell out the very people they were elected to fight for? Or is evil the politician that puts out lies and takes in cash? However you may classify evil, having to choose the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. Nowhere does this rule apply more than during an election for mayor. Choosing a candidate who is the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. No wonder so many people don't vote. It's time for the constituents to flip the script and vote for a mayor you can trust. My name is Jason McCauley. I am an independent thinker, and I approve this message. I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, in the Democratic Party primary election for mayor for the city of Hartford. I, like you, am an independent thinker. So let's sit down and talk about my path to victory and why my 5-point plan for Hartford will work. Stop listening to the uninformed evil interests that tell you I can't win. For more information, visit McCauleyformayor.com. Have the courage to vote your conscience. Vote for the name you trust and know. Vote McCauley for mayor.
Hi,
My name's J. Stan McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Oh, yeah. Where else can you have this much fun?
Hey, Stan, I seen an article in the paper the other day about how Arunan
Arulampalum
raised $250,000. Can you share some of those other numbers with us, Stan, about the fundraising with these people?
Yeah. The big money is coming in through Senator John Fonfara, co-chair of the Senate Finance Committee.
Well, aren't we surprised at that?
Okay.
How much has he raised, Stan?
$350,000 in 3 months.
And he just started, yeah.
He just started, and he only had like $10,000 worth of expenditures.
And now the big money's coming in because
the big money, it's gonna just keep flowing.
Well, the closer to the race, the more people to start throwing money at him.
Oh yeah, and with the $350,000, that says he's a front runner, monetarily.
Yeah.
And money buys access.
Yeah.
So it's quite clear who you won't put your money on. So
now who else has raised some money?
Well, Arunan Arulampalum is number 2.
And who else?
He's got 200 and I think 25,000. Now these numbers are impressive. Make no mistake about it. They're impressive, but they're impressive to a certain segment of the society, and that's a very small silo of politicos.
Yeah.
All right. The average person doesn't know, or nor do they care.
Yeah.
And they won't ever know. Next in line would be Senator, former judge, the Honorable Eric Coleman. He raised, I think, like $68,000 in this last quarter. He had something like 53,000, 49, somewhere around that, the first reporting segment. So he's brought in maybe about 110, and then he had expenses. His expenses are pumping up there.
Is it mostly to the doctor or what?
That's me. Then there's
listen, I'm gonna give Eric Coleman and his campaign some advice right now, and I'm saying this with love. It may sound a little out of but whatever, but y'all need to take all them $68,000, put it in an envelope, and drop it off at Stan McCauley's campaign, because he's gonna win. So don't waste your time. Don't play no games.
Oh man, that's all I need.
So no. Here's the thing. Hold up. Here's the thing. Because this is an eye-opener today. I knew it was going to be a banging show. We've had such a good show. I had such
Free Speech TV.
So here's the thing. You said something that it might have went over a lot of people's heads, but it didn't go over mine, brother. You said follow the money. These two dudes that have $350,000 and $225,000, you are absolutely correct, Stan. We need to see who's giving these fools that money.
Who's donating to everybody. Yeah. Okay, now we
can we get some of that information so we can talk about it next week on the show?
Oh, we can. Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Bring some of that in.
Where's the money? Where's the money? We'll pull the papers and we'll talk about it.
Yes.
Then you have Nick LeBron.
How much Nick raised?
I want to say 48,000.
That's not bad.
That's not bad
for a councilman.
Right.
With no name. You know,
right? Where's the hat? I need a hat so I could tip my hat to him.
No name recognition.
Right.
No real political connections.
Right.
Because all his stuff he doesn't know, but all his stuff is very superficial. He's not even a pawn. He's like a reserve pawn in somebody else's game. So he did good. 48. That's almost like, Nick, here, take this money and go home. That's that kind of money. I'm just saying, Stan.
Wow.
You know.
All right. Then of course I posted less than $1,000. The single sheet. But we haven't started yet.
We haven't started yet. Here's the thing.
So we make our announcement this Friday. Is the official start of our campaign. We filed paperwork. It seems like forever ago, but we filed the paperwork 4 weeks ago. On that day, the decision was made, and so for the last 4 weeks, we've been ramping up. We got commercials, we got website, we got strategy. I mean, we're ready to hit the ground running, and then so Friday at quarter
Right
to
ahead.
12, we bring out the mobile campaign office, and we hit the road right from there.
That's extraordinary,
And
Stan.
right from there, because we're not having people walk extravagant mileage to get. I mean, this is 2022. We live at 2023. We live in the age of Zoom. People are remote. They're hybrid.
Yes.
So we have 30 locations around the city where the mobile office will be at. So when we're in a neighborhood
at a
canvassing,
time and day.
right? So when we're out in the neighborhood canvassing, the mobile office will be there, fully equipped with everything you need to know about our campaign.
And Stan, and I know you already know this. I just want to say this for the audience, right? But that is also a phenomenal voter registration vehicle.
Absolutely, we do voter registration.
I wouldn't be surprised if you registered a couple thousand voters before before the election.
Well, I should hope so.
Absolutely,
I should
man.
absolutely hope so.
So listen,
But
since it already
let me
been-
not forget now. There's some other people in the race.
Oh, okay.
All right.
What they doing?
Well, I don't. They haven't posted any money. Their name wasn't listed in the thing, but they're the fact that they're running gets a tip of the hat.
Who are these?
That would be the Renardo Dunn.
Renardo.
Yeah,
Okay.
Renardo Dunn, Tracy Funny, and Giselle Jacobs. Who? Congratulations, Giselle. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. Of course, I saw it today. I didn't know on Saturday. I didn't know. But I saw it. She just engaged.
Oh, congratulations.
So
to the
congratulations to Giselle
Beautiful.
Jacobs, Sister Soldier, and so she's engaged. So congratulations.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Outstanding. So yeah, it's good to hear this information because it's like I stated earlier, we really need to start looking at what these people are doing instead of what they're saying so we can begin to have some real accountability in our city. So yes, family, thank you so much for tuning in with us today, man. What a great show, Stan and Dr. Maya.
Absolutely. I know that as it is that we're coming, it's prom season, it's graduation season, and then we head straight into our summer season. A lot of things have been accumulating up to this point, and so there's Hillary Honeybee Brown, who's looking to make sure that our young ladies are getting appropriately attired, and so she's seeking donations in terms of graduation. Just making sure that individuals have what they need in terms of documentation, FAFSAs filled out, applications, letter of recommendations, and all that good stuff. Also giving consideration that some may not want to take the journey into higher education. So look into the trades. You make great money in the trades.
Absolutely.
And so not neglect to look into the trades, which speaks to the fact that the actual knowledge of fundamentals in terms of mathematics is necessary. So after being in school for X a number of years, you should be able to take that specific whatever exam or test that they give you in order to get a trade under your belt in terms of training, and then thinking about going union or non-union. And so with that being said, the military is also an option. So don't limit yourself on what the options are in terms of what can actually be accomplished beyond the high school years. And so it's great opportunity out there. The sky's beyond the limit. No limits. Think in terms of no limits, and make no excuses, because if it is that you want to get something done, you have that mind to get that thing done, then one of the things that is very important, success only comes before work in the dictionary. So congratulations to all our upcoming graduates.
Speaking of graduates, Kasike has graduated. He graduated to another year, you know.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm 63
Happy birthday.
today.
Happy
Thank
Yeah,
you.
birthday.
this is
Thank you. I'm
his birthday.
63 today. and I feel
63.
great.
63 years young.
Yes. But I just
So
want
how are you feeling at
I feel-
63? You ready?
man,
You
I
ready?
feel great, man. Yes, I'm ready for whatever comes, man. I'm
Uh-huh.
ready. I just wanted to comment real quick on something that Dr. Maya was saying about the work, and I'm out and about a lot, daily, and I've noticed in social media, and by seeing them myself, that a lot of women are taking non-traditional roles now. I see a lot of women that are driving tractor trailers, the 18 wheelers. And I also see a lot of women in construction now. They're doing a lot of the trades, like you said. So I find that to be very encouraging that they're, applying themselves to all, because there's a lot of money to be made. Like they say, they can earn well, and they can also learn something. A trade is something you carry for life. When you have a trade and you're working in Hartford and you move to, say you're going to move to Tennessee or California, if you apply yourself, you'll have a job before you get there doing the same thing you were doing here. So a trade is very good. And you also, what I would say though, Dr. Maya and Stan, and to all our listeners and viewers, is that we must encourage our children to build their own things, not to work for nobody else. Because when you work for somebody else, you're building their wealth and their fortune. And at the end, you end up like me. I'm 63 and I don't have anything. I don't have any regrets about it. I wish I had been educated a little bit more about creating and building my own thing. So now I spend a lot of time talking to young people about that and making sure that they understand that they have an opportunity to do their own thing. They don't have to work for no one.
Well, I wouldn't say you don't have anything. You may not have a whole lot of.
Well, I don't have a lot of material
stuff.
things, but that's why I say I don't have any regrets, because I'm not that type of person.
There's more than
But I do regret staying not having the the overstanding. Okay, that I could have if I would have been educated in that. It never occurred to me because that was not how I was socialized. So that's what happens to a lot of us. We're socialized in a certain way, and we're kept in that cage, if you will. And until we figure out, like you said earlier, man, the walls are paper thin. You could just walk out, and so that's what I did. And when I walked out, it's been wonderful. But you don't have to wait till you're in your 50s or 60s to have this wonderful eye-opening experience that you are a creator, you are a builder, and you can do these things.
Absolutely. That's why I said the sky's beyond the limit. When it is that you want to explore, especially in this age. Back in the day, we had to go physically to a library. We wake up with our phones in our hand.
Literally.
We do all kind of research at any time, any place, as long as we have internet connectivity. So, whenever it is that a question prompts you, you can do that research ASAP. There is no excuses, right? So a lot of my students, they'll ask me questions, and I'm like, let's reach out to our personal assistant, Google or YouTube, to find those answers, because they're available. Somebody has posted something about something that you have a question about. And so starting there will allow for you to expand out to find actual people who have expertise in that area. But you got to be willing to do the research. Following the money trail requires for you to do the research.
Yes.
And amongst other things. So, even where we find ourselves looking at individuals in higher education or pursuing higher education, the one thing that I'm noticing is that being comfortable with going through the process of doing research is there's a gap, right? So if I have a question, either I'm going to ask it or not ask it, or I'm going to actually do the research. I tell my students we've got at least 2 personal assistants that we do not have to actually pay. That's Google and YouTube.
Nice.
Utilize your personal assistants. They're there to assist you.
Now, my personal assistant is sitting here looking at me, and she's not happy. Because she's there like two times you mentioned everyone else, and she sits up here and help me out all the time. And so I have my Alexa here. So
Alexa's here with us.
Right. Alexa.
Yeah. And this is how we talked about how AI could be dangerous and this and that if it's not. And so this is an instance, Dr. Maya, where I really enjoy AI. When you have access to information like that, I think this is an instance where I agree that this is something very beneficial for us because we have access to just about anything, at our fingertips when you have a phone or a laptop and internet access. So this is one of those instances where I would definitely approve of AI being something useful to humans and not dangerous if it's used the right way. I'm sure we can find ways to get in trouble with that information too now.
Absolutely. There's the good and bad in technology in a lot of respects. It's all in terms of the purpose and intentionality that individuals utilize the technology. For example, if I have a butter knife, I can slice up the butter to put on my toast, or I can also MacGyver it. And if I don't have a screwdriver, I can use a butter knife to unscrew something. But then on the more pervasive and yet devastating side, negative side, I could use that to, injure somebody with the butter knife. So, it depends on what you're going to utilize that technology for, the good, bad, and indifferent. That's where we find ourselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, because we talk about AI and how in some instances I feel that it can be injurious. And it has been or is already been with these robots killing people and stuff because it's all very embryonic. It's all, even though they've been doing it for a couple of years, they don't really have a good handle on that right now. So they're testing things, and when things are in the testing phase, there's always the danger of, something breaking or someone getting hurt or even killed for that matter.
Well, it would be pretty bad to wake up in the morning and find out that your AI has sealed you into the room. You got one of those smart houses that won't let you out the house.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, that would not be good. No.
and that
like or someone compromises it, and next thing you know, you locked in your house, airtight.
Can't get in or
can't
out.
get in or out. Takes over your phone.
Yeah, that's not
mimics
very intelligent.
Mimics your voice.
Yeah, all of that can happen.
Right.
That's why we have to be careful how we proceed with that because it's all real. Those are real scenarios that have already occurred, Stan.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes.
Well, I feel as though we should. So what should we ask the artificial intelligence?
That's a question to
what should we ask? What should we ask? What should we ask?
One of the things that I would ask is the same thing that I say on the show every week.
Mm-hmm.
I would ask artificial intelligence is how can we improve our lives while enhancing, Mother Earth, everything that it has.
Okay, let me ask. Let me ask Alexa if she knows the answer to that question. It may be too deep for her. She's not quite as sophisticated as
Before
Google.
you do that, ask her who her parents are.
Alexa, who are your parents?
A parent is a caregiver of the offspring in their own species.
Alexa,
in human.
Stop. Now see. She didn't answer the question.
She did not.
You sound like a politician. Yeah, I asked you what was your plan for the schools, and then you went off into this whole thing about underground travel. Alexa, do you have parents?
I was made by a team of inventors at Amazon.
Alexa, who are your parents?
A parent is a caregiver of the offspring in their own species. In humans, a parent is the caretaker of a child. A biological parent is a person whose gamete resulted in a child, a male through the sperm, and a female through the ovum. Biological parents are first-degree relatives and have 50% genetic meat. A female can also become a parent through surrogacy.
That's a lot of information, but she didn't answer the question.
Well, she said in humans.
In humans.
What kind of other parents
She's not
are there?
human.
That's
kind
the
of other
programming.
parents are there?
That is definitely the algorithm.
Right. But she's evolving. She's gotten a lot smarter than her inception because she was made to be a utility for ordering products. So she's evolved. She's evolved.
Ask her your question, Stan.
What was the question?
About the what would you ask what would you ask AI?
Right.
About how to use AI
for bettering the world.
Yeah.
Right. That was somewhat like. Would you remember the question, Dr. Bond?
No, that was it. That was it. Yeah.
He simplified it. Yep, that's the gist of it.
All right, because it's always the question you ask the artificial intelligence. If you don't ask it the right
Google
question,
search. Yes,
right, you got to ask the right question, otherwise you can get the wrong answer. And you should really even still get 2 or 3 sources, because not everything online is right. There's a lot of wrong information online.
You have to verify.
You got to verify. Don't just run off with
and all of
right.
that.
Alexa, what would you do to better humanity and the world?
I don't know that.
She don't know. She doesn't know.
But pretty soon,
she will.
Some slick programmer will program an answer.
Right.
To that question.
I appreciate the fact that Alexa will say, I don't know. A lot of people won't say that. Just if you don't know, you don't know. She's not considered stupid because she didn't know.
But what's the correct answer, though? That's not the correct answer. That's a half an answer or a partial answer. What is the correct answer?
To the question as to what would you do to better the world?
Yeah. And when she says, I don't know, what there has to be an addition to that. That's not a complete answer.
Okay, Alexa. Are there ways to make the world better?
From wikihow.com. To make the world a better place, start with small changes close to home, like volunteering with a local charity, buying products that are made or grown locally, and voting in community elections.
Ooh, that's the top 3.
Yeah, but that's some real white stuff right there. I'm just telling you, man. You got to stop that.
Local grown. Everything except the voting. I think if she hadn't mentioned the voting, she might have had you at least a little bit.
That's somebody else's idea. That's not her own.
Right. She doesn't have any original ideas. She's not human.
But the problem with that is that they can manipulate whatever ideas they have.
Well, you can manipulate people too.
Well, I'm saying that.
Well, how many people are walking around with their heads filled with all kinds of stuff that's wrong?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And now human beings are programmed by the second.
Yeah.
They turn on the radio, there's programming.
Yeah.
Television got programming. Everything is programming you to accept and behave in a particular way.
Yeah.
You're being programmed over and over again. Stop. My shameless pitch for money.
You shouldn't feel no shame.
I should feel no shame?
No. Are you doing something wrong?
Fundraising.
So I should feel no shame. No shame.
Unapologetic about it.
No, Stan, what is the maximum donation that people can give you?
$1,000. $1,000. But they gotta go online and do it. Yeah, just go online. I don't need $1,000. I just need $5. Just $5. $5 is more than enough.
Okay.
$5. So I will do the old senatorial shakedown.
Can I give you the 5?
No, you can't pass it on hand.
How do I do it?
You can go online. You can actually give me the 5, and I can have you fill out the paperwork.
Yeah, let's do that.
Right, we'll do the paperwork. That'll work.
We'll do it official.
Right. This is what we call the senatorial shakedown.
You know something? Hartford's strength is the people. They're independent thinkers and love their city. So how did Hartford fall into the hands of rogue policymakers? Well, to start, this rogue group spent nearly $1 million putting themselves on the inside and leaving you out in the cold. What if I told you that $5 can be the difference between a Hartford with hope and vision, or a Hartford that is in perpetual decline, increasing crime, and an educational system going nowhere fast? Your $5 contribution to our team is a statement that you are investing in Hartford's future. Your $5 contribution to McCauley for Mayor will make you a member of the team, and together we will explore the possibilities. More than that, you will be demonstrating that Hartford's people are ready to make a stand with Stan. Our goal is to get the support of 5,000 people who live, work, and play in Hartford. I'm asking you to make a bold statement by contributing $5 right now, today. If you believe in Hartford and its people like I do, make that contribution. And together we will show Connecticut that the people of Hartford care enough to do our part. We are ready to pick up the ball and run. The people of Hartford are back in the game, and we're in it to win. My name is J. Sam McCauley, and I approve this message.
When I had my radio show on WKND, we used to call these kind of things shameless self-hype. Shameless self-hype.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't agree with that characterization of this particular instance because, first of all, you're a member of this community and you have a right. Anyone in this community has a right to ask for support from the community.
That's true. That's true.
I think that's what you're doing. So, but Stan, I just want to say this on the air. When you become mayor, I hope that you really think about having a different way to police. I want you to try to roll something out. I'm not sure what it looks like, but I like the idea of having a police officer with a educated and certified therapist or clinician.
As a team?
Yeah.
The partner.
Yeah, and put them out there. And
you know what?
Yes.
You know what? What we'll do is we'll commit to, because to me the best way to do that is to get the community's buy-in.
Yeah.
So part of what we can do with our mobile campaign office is to have these conversations
absolutely
at the mobile campaign office right in the community.
Yeah. And Stan, I don't know the places that you have, but I'm sure that if you...
I can tell you the secret locations.
Well, hold on one second. I'm sure that if you, like if you come on my street with your mobile van, it's going to be just more than me at my house. When you pull up to my house and come out into the backyard, we'll have people. I'll have 10 or 12 people, my neighbors, that will sit there and listen to whatever you have to say. So I just want you to know that I'm sure a lot of other people wouldn't mind you pulling up.
We will pull up.
And having these community meetings in the backyards with people, because it brings you back to really engaging and really being right there in that moment with people, and they appreciate that.
Well, we will absolutely come to wherever you are. And we'll bring the mobile campaign office with me. But there are 30 wonderful locations around the city that we will be having our base of operations from, if you will.
And let's get a schedule right on the air, Stan.
I'll have the schedule for you on next Wednesday.
Okay.
So the first base of operation will be 550 Main Street.
Okay.
And that's where we're going to meet
Friday.
on Friday. The other 29 are the schools in the city, because I consider the schools the center of the community.
Nice.
And we have to make our schools the center of community. Doesn't matter where you go to school in Hartford, wherever the school is in your community is the center of your community.
Yes.
And that should be where everything happens. It was up to me, all the parks and recreation centers would be in the school.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because that's where most of the children go.
Brother, now don't go too far, because that's where we grew up. I lived in Charter Oak Terrace. We used to stay after school, right? We could stay after school till about 4:30, 5 o'clock, 4:45. And then we went home. We had something to eat. because in the afternoon it was just recreation. It was not a lot of sports. We played pool, we played bumper pool, we played checkers, we played chess. The girls did the jump rope, the double dutch, whatever. And then we go home and eat. And then at 6 o'clock we can come back from 6 to about 6 to 7 for the young kids, and then from 7 to 9 for the older kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the schools. A lot of them programs were into. I listen. I did one of the best basketball leagues I ever did. I did a wish school, and that's where the idea was born out of, not giving trophies to the champions, but having a banquet for all the participants, and bring, and then having this great dinner with them, and everybody had a great time, and all these young men would talk about was, when is the next one? Because this was great, man. I like having my girl here. I got my kids here. Yeah, because we got to get away from elevating people and isolating them from everybody else. You know what I'm saying? We all part of the community. You have skills that are great, but so don't I.
Everybody
so doesn't
does.
Dr. Maya. Everyone, right? So we have to respect everybody's skills without putting our own down.
Absolutely. Last words, Dr. Maya.
Well, as we near the closing of schools for the summer, may everybody meet their journey with a successful accomplishment across that finish line. Class of 2023, hats off to you.
Cacique.
Well, I just want to send a blessing to all of our ancestors, for all the sacrifices and, all the doors that they open for us that we don't even know about. And sometimes we act like, we did something, right? I just want our family out there, all our listeners and all our viewers, to really think about the idea that we're standing on the shoulders of giants. Peace, family.
Amen. My friends, we will see you next time. You all have a great rest of your day. Join us this Friday at 11:45, 550 Main Street, City Hall. And come on out and join us as we have our campaign kickoff. That's our kickoff. Our mobile campaign office will be there, and we start from that day on. We'll be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to make it happen. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Hey, Hartford, Connecticut, I'm talking to you. We gotta get out and vote. Vote for Stan McCauley. It's our time. We gotta rise up and take it back. Vote for Stan McCauley.
Vote for Stan. You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah.
It's more than politics than just what your social covers. And it ain't somewhere written down in bold letters. Don't just take my word for it, do your research. Think of your future, look at your bigger picture. Shooting tie, clean up, unity for the righteous. Plotting on action, hands-on access. With a light source vision, door-to-door knocking. Guerrilla style marketing, brainstorm as a collective. Real neighborhood suggestions. Only we know what it is where we living. To make real life decisions. Move on facts, make it manifest back.
You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah. Look at your city. Stop. Take a look around. Is opportunity flow into your house? Are you working? Wait, can you save some money? And is your neighborhood safe? Or is it a homicide every night?
Senior. Many of you may know me as the two-time welterweight champion of the world. I'm here to tell you that Democrat J. Stan McCauley, as our next mayor, will fight for you until the last bell. Help me throw a knockout punch. Go out and vote for Stan the man.
My name's J. Stan McCauley, and I approve this message.